Joining me now is retired Colonel Mike Cabri, formerly of the U.S. Army. And thank you, first of all, for being here, and thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you, Dennis. I enjoyed all 30 years of it. I really did.
So tell me about your career, how it began,
Wow.
how it ended.
So I got commissioned in 1986 from West Point, and then my first assignment was in Germany. So we were on the North German plain, the only unit that far north in Germany. Phenomenal assignment. Also met my wife there. She was an American that was cooking in France and vacationing in Germany when I met her. She was hoping we'd stay in Germany a lot longer in Europe. As it turned out, we went from there to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, which she'd never been to before. That's where our basic captain's career courses were. So, you know, all the artillery training for both us and the Marines occurs at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. From there, Fort Riley, Kansas, back to Fort Sill, to Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. So my wife kind of called it the Bermuda Triangle of the Midwest. We just didn't seem to get out of there again. Then we, headed off different places. I went to Korea for a year on my own. Kathy and the kids stayed in Kansas. Then we met up at Fort Drum, New York. We all converged back there after I came back from Korea. From there, the family went to Europe. I had a NATO assignment for a couple years. Back to Fort Riley for my battalion command. There for 2 years, and then Fort Leavenworth for a few years. So I had one kid that actually got to go 4 years of high school in one place.
Which is rare sometimes.
Very rare. I mean, they all ended up going to 8 different schools before they went off to college. So, it wasn't like they had an easy time. And then from Fort Leavenworth back down to Fort Sill, I had my brigade command there and stayed on as the assistant commandant for the artillery school there for a year. And then to the Pentagon for my last couple years, and then National Defense University.
Wow.
And that's where I kind of finished up as I was the provost, chief of staff, and then ended up getting hired as a civilian as a dean in one of the colleges for a couple years.
And you served overseas in battle. Tell me about that.
I did, yes. Deployed to Iraq in, I guess it was September of 2003. So I had taken command in May. We weren't on anybody's radar to go. Kind of thought that we were maybe 18 months or a year out from going, and then we got a notice we were getting ready to go to the National Training Center, which is in Fort Irwin, California, and we were told, oh, you're going to railroad your vehicles, but you're going to Beaumont, Texas, because you all are going to Iraq now. And so we deployed to Iraq in September 2003 to Ramadi, so fairly volatile region at the time, but it was I think it aged me like dog years. That's what my wife said. So, but phenomenal experience and incredible work with soldiers, and it was a highlight of my career.
And obviously I've gotten to know you because we belong to the same gym, the Mandel JCC in West Hartford, and but you've decided after retirement you still give back. What do you do? Because you volunteer with a lot of charities and things like that.
Yeah, there's a couple organizations I belong to. One, I was on I served with the Wilson Gray YMCA board for about the first year and a half, 2 years I was here. I'm on the Connecticut Veterans Legal Center board. They're right around the corner here in New Haven headquarters, but they're an organization that brings legal relief and legal help to veterans that are facing homelessness, eviction. It's a medical legal partnership with the VA.
What are some of the challenges that veterans face today here in Connecticut? We hear about the number of homeless veterans increasing, and that sometimes it's difficult to get health care.
It is difficult, and I think it's hard sometimes, especially for veterans that are in the National Guard community, in the reserve community. When you have major military installations, you have major military hospitals that are there that kind of understand and see the types of issues that veterans go through. Here, we're very fortunate with the VA that's here in West Haven, yeah. And in Newington, the campus they have there. But if you're quite a ways out from here, 2 or 3 hour drive from those places, it's hard to get to the VA type care. Now, they still have care in the community, but you may not if you're seeking help for mental health issues, for instance. Your counselor in that region may or may not have experience dealing with people that have mental health issues from service-connected activities, put it that way. And so I think it's, there's some challenges there. There are service members that have been, administratively separated from the military years ago for one reason or another. A lot of them under the don't ask, don't tell period, that their characterization of service was less than honorable, which means they're not able to receive certain VA benefits. So they have to apply to get their characterization upgraded. And that's the CVLC, that organization I do work with. they help veterans do that, get their discharges upgraded, and get the benefits that they've been due.
For some of our younger people watching, I should say under the age of 36, I think you can list up to 36, I believe is the year. Maybe
I think they've stretched it out a little bit more. It used to be 28. And,
yeah, now it's in the 30s now. What is your advice for them if they're thinking about a career in the military?
I mean, a career in the military, you definitely have to look at it and say, is this what I want to do? If you're going to try to do it to make someone else happy, you're probably not going to be as successful. I think it's an opportunity for you to grow both mentally and physically, emotionally. You're put into positions in the military in general. I can speak specifically to the Army, does a great job of providing education along the way. That's one thing that our Army, our military does that other countries really they look at and wish they could build the same models where we take a soldier, whether enlisted or officer, and it's certain points along their career path, we pull them out of the pipeline, send them to schooling, get them professionally educated, and able to be developed as a leader. So there's great opportunities to travel, opportunity to experience new cultures, opportunity to grow your own skill sets.
And you speak to groups about being a veteran and things like that. And
yeah, I do.
And what's the one thing people should say to a veteran when they meet one?
I mean, that's a tough one to say because, like, you should say something to me, and I really don't have anything. I mean, I do appreciate when people say thank you for your service. I do appreciate it, and I tell them thank you for your support. And I think that's an important thing. We do serve, we continue to serve. We are challenged to continue to serve our communities when we leave the military. There's a famous letter from 1940s after World War II that a bunch of generals got together. And as they kind of gave that letter to the millions that were leaving the military, that basically said, we charge you with all the experience that you've gained in these last several years, go back and pay it to your communities because you're the right people to do it. And I think that's something you can look at. If you look long term, you're going to be able to continue to serve in many ways.
All right, Colonel Mike Cabri, thank you for your time today, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Dennis.
So, hope you've been thinking about it. Which town has the most bears in Connecticut? That's coming up. And we invite you to connect with us right here. You can email me or find me on social media, X, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm on all three.